So what we're going to have a look at is the solutions to the statistics revision sheet. So we're going to have a look at, here's our stem and leaf plot. The range is our highest minus our lowest. This is our highest score, 31, and this is 0, 8, which is 8. So 31 minus 8 gives us 23, which is a solution of B. If we have a look for the median, remember we cross off our highest and lowest, then our next highest and lowest, and we keep going till we get one in the middle, which in this case is 18. So our answer is E. The mean, if you remember the mean, it's the total of all the scores. So adding up 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, etc., all the way up to 31. And then we divide by the number of scores, and there are 15 leaves there, so we're dividing by 15. So when we do that, we get 19.06 repeater, which is closest to 19.1. So now we're looking at this box plot, and you'll notice that I've marked Q1, our lower quartile, our median, and our upper quartile. Remember, this is our lowest score and our highest score. The median is our Q2, which in this case is 15. For question 5, our interquartile range is Q3, which is 20, minus Q1, which is 10. So 20 minus 10 gives us 10, which is an answer of A. The 25% of the data, or quarter of the data, that is greater than 20. So there's 20. There's our quarter that is greater than 20. Right? So 25% of the data is greater than, so this quarter is greater than that 20, which is B. So question 7 and 8, here's our data set here, already placed in ascending order, which has made it easier for us. So we want to find the median or middle score. When we do so, cross one off each end, another one off each end, and then we'll find that we have 2 in the middle. And when we've got 2 in the middle, we add them and then halve it. And when we do that, we get 14.5, which is this score just here. So C is our answer. The interquartile range is our Q3, so we have to find the median of these 5 scores. Remember, this one gets included in there. So our median, our upper quartile is 18, and our median for the lower one, which gives us our lower quartile, is 11. So 18 minus 11 gives us an interquartile range of 7. Question 9, we're looking at 2 data sets who have been, or which have already been graphed for us in box plots. So set A, set B. We need to describe them. So set A has a wider range, goes from 6 up to 13, which is a range of 7. But a smaller interquartile range, where we're talking about our middle one here, that obviously that box part is bigger than this, right? So that's not true. Set A has a wider range. Well, we're looking at our range here. Again, our range is from 13 to 6, which is 7. Our range for the set B actually includes this outlier. So it's 15 minus 5. So our range of set B is 10. So set B has a wider range and a smaller interquartile range if we include that outlier. So set B has a wider range and a smaller interquartile range. So this one here is the correct answer. But if we exclude that outlier, which I don't think we need to really do, then the 2 data sets have the same range, highest minus lowest and highest minus lowest. And set A has a large interquartile range. That's if we include the outlier, if we don't include the outlier. But I think we should include the outlier. So C is our correct answer. Question 10, which of the following line series plots has a decreasing. Decreasing means it's going down. That one's going up. This one's going down. That's going up. This one's up and down, so that's obviously not decreasing nor increasing. But the one that's decreasing, that's pretty much following a straight line, is D. If we have a look at B, it's not quite a straight line. It seems to be following more of a slight curve. So linear meaning straight line. So straight line, D is our answer. For our beginning of our short answers, I've got 20 students' class results here out of 100. I didn't realise until I was going through it that I chose poor data set here, because when we place them, 58 fits in this set here, 59 also fits in this range here, 92 fits in here, 77 fits in here, and if we keep putting all that data in our class intervals, then we find that there's 4 in each one. We add them up, 20. Now our percentage frequency is just our frequency divided by our total and changed to a percentage by timesing by 100 and making sure we put our percent sign. So each of these have the same answer because all of these were the same. So it was a poor example that I did, but you can see the idea here. When we construct a histogram, we're going to put our class intervals here, mainly because we didn't leave any room to do our class centers. So our class intervals here, and our frequency for all of them is 4. So each of these is going up to 4. So as again, I didn't choose a very good data set, which then means all of these are the same. Shouldn't be any gaps in between, and all the same size. Then there's a question, is it symmetrical? In this case, it is. It's the same on both sides if we cut it in half. Remember, it is skewed, positively skewed if there's a big tail in the positive direction, and it's negatively skewed if there's a big tail in the negative direction. Question 2, we've got a data set here. We have to look for our lowest score, 2, then we place them all in order, which we've done here. So we've placed them in order to make it easier to find any of our medians and lower and upper quartiles. So the minimum value is 2. Our maximum value is 23. So what we've got there is our minimum and maximum values. The range is our highest score minus the lowest score, so 23 minus 2 is 21. The mode is the one that occurs the most. So the one that occurs the most is this one just here. So it occurs the most. So there's our mode. The mean, add up all the scores. Once you add them up, divide by how many scores, there's 13 of them, and we get approximately 14.5 to 1 decimal place. The median is the middle score. Cross off highest and lowest until we get the middle. There's 1 in the middle, so our median is 16. Because there's 1 in the middle, it's not included in the upper half or in the lower half. So we now find the median of this upper half for our upper quartile, Add those two together and halve it. We get 19.5. Our lower two, in the middle there, 7 plus 2 is 19. Halve it, we get 9.5. So our lower quartile, 9.5. Our upper quartile is 19.5. So the interquartile range for this question is upper quartile minus lower quartile, which is 10. Are there any outliers? There doesn't seem to be any score that is really well above or well below the others. We could check to see if these are outliers. We do have that formula where it says, in this case, we're looking at our lower quartile because these are low scores, 9.5, and we'd have to take away 1.5 times our interquartile range, or 1.5 times that is 15. 9.5 take away 15 is we're going to get negative 4.5, and none of these scores are lower than negative 4.5, so we don't have any outliers. If we draw a box plot for this data, there's our lowest score of 2, our highest score of 23, we've got our median of 18, sorry, not our median of 18, our median of 16, my mistake, our upper quartile of 19.5, our lower quartile of 9.5, we've got our box and whiskers there. For our extended response, a little bit more involved, we need to plot these points, our X along the horizontal, our Y along the vertical. And what I'm going to do is do this on a little bit of a different software package so that we can see. Okay, so I've gone and plotted these points, the point 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 4, 6, 7, 7, 7, and, 7, 6, and 8, 8. So I've plotted those points. So that's what they look like, and they all seem to be roughly following a line where they increase. And so is there a positive, negative, or no correlation between X and Y? Well, because they seem to be increasing in a straight line going up, we have a positive correlation. They are fairly close to a straight line, so we're going to say that they've got a strong correlation, and there doesn't seem to be any points that are well away from the others. So outliers is nil. So what we're now going to do is a line of best fit. Now there seems to be 4 points here that seem to be in a straight line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that point and another point that all seem, we've got those 4 points that seem to be on the same straight line, and there looks like our line of best fit. So what we can now do is answer the last few questions, which is what happens when X is 0? We follow our line to where X is 0, and we find that our Y value is also 0. So our second last question is that we get across nothing, up nothing, is where it seems to be there, the point 0, 0. Then it also asks us for the last question, what happens when Y is 9? Well, there's Y is 9. Go across till we hit the line that we've drawn and go down, and we find that X is also 9. So we place our two solutions here on our sheet here. So when X was 0, Y was 0. And when Y is 9, we found that X is 9. And that concludes our revision sheet. So hopefully you understand that, and it will help you for your test.